Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, whatever place it is that you're tuned on to the Life Signatures Radio. We are in the middle of a series, and I thought we'll be able to finish it today, but it turns out, or maybe even yesterday, it turns out that quite a lot of information is still being stirred in my spirit, being stirred in my heart, and I cannot stop talking about this. We're talking about why apathy is one of the greatest enemies of purpose pursuit after you've overcome ignorance, after you've known what your purpose is. The biggest enemy that you're going to face is the enemy called apathy. And we have started discussing what this is, and we've started talking about what you can be able to do to overcome the spirit of apathy in your life. Yesterday we looked at one point. Today I want to introduce another point, and then we'll continue that way until we have enough arsenals or enough weapons in our arsenal to be able to take down the spirit of apathy that is against us in our purpose pursuits, in our marriages, in our careers, in our families, in everything that we desire to see happen that is meaningful in our lives. So stay tuned.
Welcome to the Life Signatures podcast with Lawrence Namale. Lawrence is a life coach, author, and keynote speaker who loves to tackle different topics on purpose, productivity, and resilience. His mission in life is to awaken all your boundless possibilities available in you. Life Signatures podcast is dedicated to bring to reality every single person who knows that deep down in their gut there's got to be more to life than this. And now, here is your host, Lawrence Namale.
Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot begin to tell you just how potent apathy is. And we discussed this by saying that at the end of the day, the summit of apathy, the apex of apathy, is that it turns you to be the greatest enemy of the thing that you're supposed to do. You're supposed to write that book, and you're actually inspired to write the book. But when the spirit of apathy starts coming in, you delay doing the necessary things that are supposed to be done so that the completion of that book project can come. And when it continues being that way, what happens is that you start hating the very idea of writing a book, because you have been stuck. You become so stagnant, so heavy with apathy, that you don't want to think about writing the book anymore. It reminds you of your failures. It reminds you how arduous, how difficult the process is. It reminds you how uncomfortable it is to rise yourself up to get that book done. And therefore, given that you really want comfort in your life and you really want freedom and liberty in your life and in your spirit, your brain instructs you to treat the very thing that you're supposed to have done with disrespect and as an enemy, and to start blocking it out. It is very insidious, this disease called apathy. So we've been looking at how can we overcome apathy? The first thing that I let us know yesterday is that we need to realize we are all susceptible to apathy. Especially, even if, let me tell you this, I don't care how powerfully inspired you are. in the moment or in the environment of inspiration, it is so easy for you to think you are invincible, for you to think you are undefeatable, for you to think you are beyond failure. In the atmosphere and the very moment of motivation and inspiration, it is very easy for the humans to think that nothing of desperation, I don't know if there is such a word, that nothing that removes motivation, nothing that removes inspiration is able to pierce this veil and covering of glory that you have covered yourself with, this veil of inspiration, this cocoon. There's a cocoon of inspiration that you have clothed yourself with in the moment that inspiration is coming. But if you don't realize how you're supposed to guard that cocoon, you think that you are so invincible to it that apathy cannot set in. And therefore, the cocoon becomes like your shield, and yet the cocoon itself has its own moment and it's going to wear out. I'm reminded of the story. It's not really a story, but this is what used to happen in the ancient kingdoms, where an army general goes out there to fight. And as he is coming back, the whole community, the whole town, the whole city is waiting for him at the gates. And he comes with the enemy defeated and the enemy in chains, with all the loot. And he is appearing in glory and in grandeur. I mean, you envy the man. But I'm meant to understand that there is someone always in his chariot next to him, whispering in his ear, the glory is fading. The glory is fading. The glory is fading. In other words, what you're experiencing right now, Army General, is not forever. It's not going to last. It is fading. And I warn you, in the same way, with inspiration, it is always fading. Zig Ziglar said, people say that motivation doesn't last, so does bathing. That's why we recommend it daily. There's something that's supposed to be done immediately after inspiration has come. And you know what that is? It is action. Especially when the inspiration still lasts. Because the inspiration is going to fade. There will come a moment in time where you will not feel to do what you're supposed to do because of the inspiration that came. You will look for that inspiration, you will not get it. So in the moment of inspiration, just know this. You are susceptible. You are susceptible to apathy. So that's one realization. Number 2 today, let us talk about this. You need to realize that it is all about momentum and not about inspiration and not about arriving. It is all about momentum. Let me explain this, and I think I've already given some kind of groundwork for that. If you want to conquer apathy, your greatest friend, I normally say this, that we need to be always inspired above the level of challenges and above the level of life every day. But to be able to get there, it is the friend called momentum. Momentum tells you that something is moving. There is activity. There is action. The worst enemy and the biggest friend, actually, your worst enemy and the biggest friend to apathy is lack of momentum, inaction, inactivity, sitting and waiting. There is a place, listen to me if you're a Christian, because most of us, we have this thing we do to hide in scriptures and say, oh, I'm waiting on the Lord. Because the Bible says, oh, Stand still. Stand still, don't do anything. Stand still and know that I am God. In the moment of standing still, it is a moment where you need a miracle. It is a moment where you cannot. You are caught between a rock and a hard place. There is nothing you can do, humanly possible, that is going to save you. That is the moment of standing still and let God take over. But that is not a daily moment. You understand me? That is not a daily occurrence. On a daily basis, there is something that you and I can do that is going to contribute to momentum. In your marriage, or in my marriage, let me talk about my marriage. If there is inactivity in terms of communication, it doesn't matter. Let me tell you, it doesn't matter what I felt for her when I was dating. As long as there is no momentum in terms of some things are supposed to be moving, death, apathy sets in, and it comes together with its twin brother called death. Death of that particular marriage. Have you ever seen a marriage that is dead but it's living? It's called a living dead marriage. It has a structure, a semblance of things that are supposed to be happening. People are paying bills, they are living together, they are taking kids to school. But the union between them is dead and buried. Why is it dead and buried? Simple answer: lack of momentum. That is what apathy brings. Lack of momentum. If you wanted to fight apathy, your biggest arsenal, if I may say so myself, is momentum. Do something. And when we talk about momentum, we are not talking about feeling. Like I said earlier on, there will be a moment you feel absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. It doesn't negate the fact that what you are experiencing, what your direction you are supposed to take is the right direction. It is the correct direction. But all the directions that we are taking in life will not always be filled with feelings. Good feelings, inspirational feelings, momentum feelings, powerful feelings of motivation. You will not always feel drawn to your spouse. You will not always feel those butterflies all the time. There is a time that those butterflies were automatic. That was in the moment of what? In the moment of dating, when you saw each other. Right? And you could not keep your eyes off of each other. Because at the end of the day, she was supposed to go to her father's house, you're supposed to go to your own house. And so you used to miss each other. And this missing was this longing and so on. It was automatic. It's like I've spoken earlier on. In the moment of inspiration, you think you're clothed in this cocoon. And that's why it is very hard to advise someone who is clothed in this cocoon of I am in love. You tell them that that person is wrong and so on. They will gang up against you. They will fight you. The cocoon is on. And they don't know that this cocoon will waste away. What we need to replace that cocoon with is momentum, activity, action. Even when you don't feel like hugging your husband. Okay, I know this is bizarre because I don't know the circumstances and the context that many people are going through in their marriages. But I am fighting apathy, friends. All things kept constant, there are some things you will not feel like doing. But I'm telling you, the moment you allow inactivity, dormancy, and stagnation in whatever it is you're involved with, is it your marriage relationship? Is it your academic studies? Is it your startup pursuit? Is it your career progression and growth? The moment you allow apathy to set foot, the moment you allow inactivity to set foot, the moment you kill momentum, that's the moment that thing is dead and buried. Forget it. Kaput. Finito. Done and dusted. So realize, number 2, that your greatest friend in fighting apathy is momentum. And momentum is cultivated whether you feel it or not. Period. Tomorrow we're going to look at another way to fight apathy. But until then, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Life Signatures Radio. If you enjoyed today's show, subscribe to Life Signatures Radio on iTunes, Stitcher, or visit our website at lifesignatures.libsyn.com. Life Signatures Radio, fresh, clean, and inspiring.